Welcome back to AF Tales. Today's story starts with a wife saying, "You are good, Henry. Too good, but you are holding me back." Greg says, "People like you never take risks." As you listen, think about where you would draw the line if someone you love started treating you like a limitation. My wife said, "You're holding me back." I replied, "Then go take yours." Then I packed up, moved out, started my own consulting, and let her chase Greg until a certified letter put my clearance on the line with $60,000 in fake invoices. Rachel said it at our 5th anniversary dinner, not during a fight, not in a moment of anger. She said it calmly, like she had practiced it. We were at this French place in Fairfax we used to love. The kind where they remember your anniversary and bring out complimentary champagne. They brought it. Rachel didn't touch hers. I set down my fork slowly and looked at her across the table. She was wearing a dress that probably cost more than our mortgage payment. Makeup perfect, like she was going somewhere else after this. Maybe she was. I waited for the part where she laughed and said she was stressed. It didn't come. She said I was stable and reliable, but that was the problem. She said I held her back. She said she needed someone who pushed her, someone who took risks, someone who wanted more out of life. Then she added it, like the final stamp on the message. Greg says people like you never take risks. That sentence landed harder than everything else, not because it was new, but because it explained the whole thing. Notice this pattern. When someone uses another person's opinion as a weapon, they are not speaking from their own heart anymore. I kept my voice steady. "Then go take your risks," I said. "Just don't expect a safety net when you fall." Her eyes widened. I think she expected me to beg, to ask what I could change, to promise I'd become someone else. Instead, I signaled the waiter, signed the check, left my credit card on the table, and walked out. I left her sitting there with 2 full plates and a bottle of wine we were never going to finish. I sat in my Civic in the parking lot for 20 minutes, hands gripping the steering wheel. I watched couples walk in and out. Young couples holding hands. Older couples moving slowly like they had done this 1,000 times together. All of them looked happier than we had been in months. That was 6 months ago. Let me back up because I know how it sounds, like I'm the innocent guy and she's the villain. It didn't start like this. Rachel and I met 8 years ago through mutual friends at a brewery in Arlington. She was in marketing for a tech startup, full of energy, full of ideas. I was 2 years into my job as a systems engineer at a defense contractor. Stable, predictable. She called my job boring back then, but it felt like teasing, not disrespect. Rachel was the ambitious one, the social person who knew everyone's name and remembered their birthdays. I was the guy who made sure bills got paid, health insurance stayed active, and the car got maintenance on time. I told myself we balanced each other. I told myself balance was enough. 2 years into our marriage, Rachel got hired as marketing director at a luxury lifestyle startup. Open office, trendy snacks, everyone under 35, founders who made sure you knew they sold their last company for 8 figures. Her best friend Sophie worked around that crowd too. Some kind of influencer partnership manager. Sophie posted nonstop about living your best life, knowing your worth, not settling. Rachel started spending more time with them, and slowly, she started looking at me differently. The comparisons started small. During dinner, she would mention how someone's boyfriend was already a business owner or how someone else just got promoted again. It wasn't about sharing news. It was like she was building a case. It felt like I was being measured against men I wasn't trying to compete with. This is how resentment grows, not in one big moment, but in 100 little comparisons. She started taking more work trips. Napa, Miami, Austin, South by Southwest. Her Instagram became carefully curated photos. Hotel robes, ocean balconies, cocktails at sunset. Co-workers' faces cut off like the trip was always just about her. She looked radiant in every photo, happy, free. I wasn't in any of them. I asked once if I could come with her to Miami. She looked at me like I suggested showing up to her office in pajamas. "It's a work thing, Henry," she said. "You wouldn't understand the dynamics. It would be weird." I didn't push, I trusted her. Then the comments about my career got sharper. "You've been at the same company for 7 years," she said. "Don't you want more?" "More what?" I asked. "I don't know," she said. "Just more." That was around the time she started talking about Greg, her boss, how visionary he was, how he had built companies from nothing, how he understood risk and reward. Greg was 53, married, 2 kids in high school. People in Northern Virginia tech circles knew his reputation. Charming until he wasn't. I had heard stories. Rachel said I was being judgmental. Then came our anniversary dinner. I made the reservation weeks in advance at the French place we went to on our first anniversary. I thought the sentiment mattered. Rachel said she'd meet me there after work. I arrived on time, ordered a scotch, waited. She walked in 40 minutes late wearing an emerald dress I had never seen. Hair done like she had just left a salon. She looked incredible, and she looked like she belonged somewhere else. "Sorry I'm late," she said, not sounding sorry. "Greg needed me to finish a presentation for tomorrow." We ordered. She barely touched her salmon. My phone stayed silent, hers kept buzzing. Halfway through the meal, she put down her fork and looked at me with an expression I had never seen before. Resolved, distant. "Henry, we need to talk." My stomach dropped, but I nodded. She told me I was a good man. The way she said good felt like an insult. Like good meant safe and safe meant disposable. She said I was content. She said I was dead weight, dead weight. I remember the couple at the table next to us glancing over. I remember the waiter starting to approach, then deciding not to. And I remember thinking, this is how it ends, not with shouting, not with tears. Just my wife calling me dead weight on our anniversary. I finished my drink and set the glass down carefully. Then I said it. "Go take your risks, just don't expect a safety net when you fall." Her mouth opened like she wanted to argue. I didn't wait. I signed the check, left my credit card on the table so she could get home if she needed to, and walked out into the cold November night. The next morning, she went to the gym at 7 like always. While she was gone, I packed. Not everything. Just clothes, my laptop, some books, my grandfather's watch. I left a note on the kitchen counter next to the coffee maker. I told her I was transferring the mortgage to her name. If she wanted to prove she could handle everything alone, now she could. On Monday, I called the mortgage company and started the paperwork. I called a lawyer. Then I called my friend Liam, who had been my friend since college. "Is your spare room still available?" I asked. "Always, brother," he said. "What happened?" "I'll tell you over a beer," I said. I moved into Liam's place that Tuesday. He handed me a towel, showed me where the spare sheets were, and didn't ask questions until I was ready. For a few weeks I was numb. Work, home, ceiling, repeat. I felt like I was watching my life from outside my body. Then something shifted. For years I had been doing cybersecurity consulting on the side. Small businesses, network security, penetration testing, little projects here and there. It was always supplemental income, something to keep my skills sharp. Now I had time. No pretending. No balancing around someone else's moods. So I treated it like a real business. I built a website, registered an LLC, reached out to old contacts, took meetings, followed up, delivered. My therapist, who I started seeing because Liam pushed me into it, asked me in our third session what my biggest fear was. I said, losing Rachel. She waited. I corrected myself. No, losing myself. Losing myself to the idea that love is supposed to be transactional, that I provide stability and she provides excitement, and neither of us gets to be a whole person. She nodded like I finally said something honest. 3 months after I moved out, I got a letter forwarded from the mortgage company. Rachel had missed 2 payments. The loan was still technically joint while the paperwork processed. The letter was addressed to both of us. I stared at it for a long time at Liam's kitchen table. Then I filed it away. Not my problem anymore. My consulting picked up. I landed a contract with a small healthcare company. Then a law firm. I was making nearly as much from consulting as I made at my day job. I felt productive again, like I was building something real. Then I got a different letter. Certified mail from a corporate compliance firm I had never heard of. They were conducting an audit of vendor relationships at Rachel's company. They needed to verify consulting invoices submitted under my name. Total billed, $60,000. I read that number 3 times, then I called the number on the letter. "This is Henry Ward," I said. "I got a letter about consulting invoices. There has been a mistake. I have never consulted for that company." There was a pause. Then I was told to hold. 5 minutes later, a different woman came on the line. "Mr. Ward, this is Deanne Foster, lead investigator on this audit. Are you saying you did not provide consulting services to Lux Lifestyle brands between January and October?" "That's correct," I said. "I've never been to their office. I have no idea what this is." Another pause. "Mr. Ward, we found your digital signature on all 12 invoices," she said. "They were submitted and approved by Rachel Ward and Gregory. If you are stating you didn't provide these services, we are looking at potential fraud. Given your security clearance, I need to ask where you were on March 15. My stomach dropped. My security clearance. If that got suspended, my career was over. I told her where I was, Colorado Springs, on site for my actual employer. I said I could provide documentation. She told me to send everything. I hung up and just sat there in my car in a grocery store parking lot, hands shaking. This is the moment where your past becomes a threat to your future. One lie, and the whole foundation can crack. 2 weeks later, I was grabbing coffee before a client meeting when I heard a familiar voice behind me, loud and sloppy at 11 in the morning. "Sophie." Rachel's influencer best friend. She was on her phone and didn't notice me. She was complaining to someone. I know. Rachel's going to kill me, but Greg's wife found the hotel invoices. HR is losing their minds." I froze. Hotel invoices. Greg's wife. So the work retreats weren't work. Sophie kept talking. "Greg's done this before. She wasn't even the first." I walked out before she saw me. I wanted to feel vindicated. Mostly I felt disgusted. That night, Deanne Foster called again. Professional, direct. They found irregularities in the invoices. My digital signature was on all of them. They were approved by Rachel and Greg. If I didn't do the work, it was fraud. I asked how my signature was on those invoices. Deanne said they were signed digitally, from a home printer. The home printer still sitting in the house I walked away from. For 3 days, I pulled documentation like my life depended on it. Because it did. Timesheets showing I was working out of state on invoice dates, secure login records, travel documentation, bank statements showing I never received any payments. I sent everything. A week later, Deanne called back. She said all fraudulent invoices originated from Rachel's home IP address. Submitted during hours when I was logged into my secure employer network from a different state. Rachel had used my name to cover personal expenses connected to her affair. Hotels, flights, dinners, all billed as my consulting fees. Deanne said, "Mr. Ward, if we couldn't verify your whereabouts, your clearance would be revoked. Your career would be over. We are filing charges." I sat in Liam's driveway after that call and laughed, not because it was funny, because it was unreal. 6 months ago, Rachel called me dead weight. Now she had tried to commit fraud using my identity, and if I hadn't been careful with records, she could have destroyed me. The fallout was fast. Greg resigned within 10 days. Rachel was fired for ethical misconduct. The local business press picked it up because Greg was known in the Northern Virginia tech scene. Rachel's online life collapsed too. Sponsors dropped. People figured out what happened. Sophie stopped posting about their friendship. Rachel never contacted me, not to apologize, not to explain, nothing. 7 months after I moved out, she finally sent one text. "You could have cleared my name faster. You wanted me to suffer." I stared at it for a long time, then deleted it. A few weeks later, I got a LinkedIn message from someone named Victoria. The last name stood out. Victoria was Greg's ex-wife. She introduced herself as an investor launching a compliance startup. She wanted to meet about a leadership role. I almost ignored it. Then curiosity won. We met at a coffee shop in Tyson's. Victoria was sharp, direct, and calm in a way that told me she had already survived the worst parts of her own story. Halfway through the meeting, she said, "I know this is awkward, but I need someone who understands fraud from both sides. You kept your head during an investigation that could have destroyed you. That's rare." She offered me a role leading risk assessment. Nearly double my salary plus equity, building something from scratch. I took 2 days and accepted. Liam thought I was insane. "You're working for the ex-wife of the guy who slept with your wife." I shrugged. "Life's weird, might as well get paid for it." The work started in March. It was hard and satisfying. I was designing systems meant to catch exactly the kind of fraud Rachel committed. My worst experience became expertise. Meanwhile, I heard Rachel moved back with her parents in Richmond. No real job prospects. Social media went quiet. Then, in late April, my phone rang from a blocked number I still recognized. Voicemail. Rachel's voice sounded small and tired. She said the bank was foreclosing on the house. She couldn't keep up. She asked if we could talk. I listened 3 times. Mara, the compliance lawyer I had been seeing for months, asked if I called back. I told her I didn't know. She squeezed my hand and said, "Whatever you decide is okay." I called Rachel the next morning. We agreed to meet at the house on Saturday. Driving up felt unreal. The lawn was overgrown, a shutter hung crooked. I let myself in. Rachel was sitting on the living room floor surrounded by boxes. She looked thin, exhausted. When she saw me, she tried to smile. "Thank you for coming." "I didn't think you would." I stayed standing. She said she missed 4 mortgage payments. She tried for a loan modification, but without a job, the bank wouldn't do it. Her parents couldn't help. Sophie wouldn't return calls. She said she was out of options. I asked, "What about Greg?" She flinched. "He blocked me after everything. His wife took everything in the divorce. He's living with his brother." Silence filled the room. Then Rachel said, voice breaking, "I lost everything. Job, reputation, friends. Greg's gone. Even Sophie wants nothing to do with me. I just need someone who believes in me again." I looked around at the walls we painted together. The shelves I installed. The life I maintained while she decided I wasn't enough. I said, "You believed in shortcuts, Rachel. They all expire." Her face crumpled. "So this is your revenge, watching me lose the house?" I shook my head. "No, this is your receipt." I told her I could take the house back to prevent foreclosure, but only if she signed a quit-claim deed. She would walk away with nothing, but her credit wouldn't get worse and the foreclosure wouldn't follow her forever. Rachel signed that afternoon, hands shaking. When it was done, she looked up with red eyes. "I'm sorry for all of it. You deserved better." "Yeah," I said, "I did." I left her sitting on the floor with her boxes. I didn't look back. After I took back ownership, I had a choice. Sell the house and move on or do something else. Liam suggested burning it for insurance money. That's Liam. Victoria had a different idea. Her company was growing fast. We needed office space. The house had a finished basement and enough rooms for workstations. It made financial sense, so I converted it. The master bedroom where Rachel got ready for fake work trips is now a conference room. The kitchen, where we argued about dishes, is a break room with an espresso machine. The living room, where she said I wasn't ambitious enough, is now filled with desks and monitors and people building something real. 14 months after that anniversary dinner, my consulting business merged with Victoria's firm. I'm a partner now with equity. We have 12 employees and just landed a contract with a major financial institution. The work is meaningful. I'm good at it. Mara and I are still together. We moved into a condo in Alexandria 3 months ago, not the house office, somewhere that is just ours. She knows the whole story. She doesn't see me as damaged, she just sees me. I ran into Sophie at a networking event recently. She had pivoted from influencing to marketing consulting. We made awkward small talk, then she asked if I had heard from Rachel. "She's working retail in Richmond," Sophie said. "Living with her parents. She asks about you sometimes." Sophie looked uncomfortable, then added, "For what it's worth, I'm sorry." We encouraged her to think she deserved more. We didn't know what more meant to her. She destroyed something good because we convinced her good wasn't enough. I appreciated the apology, even if it came late. Liam comes by every Friday for lunch. Last week, he walked through the renovated space and started laughing. "What?" I asked. "It's just funny how life loops," he said. "The house that nearly buried you became your business address. The wife who called you deadweight is working a cash register while you're running a company." He was right. I keep one photo of Rachel and me in my desk drawer. A hiking trip in the Blue Ridge Mountains, second year of marriage. We're both sweaty and smiling. I keep it not because I miss her, but because I need to remember something. Some people love the version of you they think they can upgrade. They don't love who you actually are. Rachel called me dead weight, said I held her back. But it turns out I was the foundation. When she kicked it out, she fell. I didn't push her. I didn't sabotage her. I just stopped catching her. Someone asked me back then if I would ever forgive Rachel. I didn't know the answer at the time. Now I do. Forgiveness isn't deciding someone deserves release from guilt. It's deciding you deserve release from their impact. I forgave Rachel the day I signed the papers, not for her. For me. Lesson 1, if someone needs you to change to prove your worth, they don't value you, they value control. Lesson 2, pay attention when your partner starts quoting another person's opinion like it's truth. That's how outside influence becomes emotional replacement. Lesson 3, keep your records and protect your name. The person who knows you best can also know exactly how to hurt you. Lesson 4, real ambition isn't loud. It's consistent. It's built quietly over time. Lesson 5, sometimes the strongest boundary is simply stepping back and letting someone face the outcome of their choices. What would you have done if your spouse told you their boss thinks you're holding them back? And if you learned they used your name to cover an affair and commit fraud, would you help them avoid foreclosure? Or would you let the consequences hit fully?